Welcome back to Generative AI 101, the podcast that turns the complex, often bewildering world of AI and generative AI into something you can actually enjoy, like a fine wine, but without the pretentious aftertaste. I'm Emily Laird, your trusty guide through the endless corridors of machine learning. Today, we're cracking open a fascinating topic: hallucinations. But not the kind you'd associate with a bad trip in the 70s. No, we never talk about my personal life on this podcast. We're talking about the hallucinations that our beloved AI models can't seem to shake. Get ready, folks, because this episode is going to be a wild ride through both the digital and human mind. Welcome to Generative AI 101. All right, let's get into it. So what exactly is an AI hallucination? So imagine you're chatting with an AI about your favorite movie, and out of nowhere, it starts describing scenes that never existed. Or maybe it's writing a news article and suddenly it's giving you details about a city that's nowhere on the map. That, my friends, is a hallucination in the world of AI. When a model generates content that has no basis in reality, it's as if your GPS decided that the best route to your destination was through a non existent bridge over an imaginary river. These hallucinations happen because AI models are essentially guessing what comes next in a sequence, be it text, images, even a melody, based on the patterns they've learned from mountains of data. But when the data is patchy or biased, the AI might fill in the gaps with what seems plausible to it, but in fact is totally off the rails. Now, before we get too smug about our human superiority, let's take a moment to acknowledge that we're not exactly strangers to hallucination ourselves. I'm not just talking about those weird dreams where your teeth fall out or you're suddenly back in high school. Those are called nightmares. No, I'm talking about the all too real phenomenon of eyewitness testimony in court cases. All right, how many times have we heard of a witness confidently identifying the wrong person in a lineup, or insisting that the getaway car was blue when it was in fact red? Or swearing that the crime happened on a Tuesday, only to be proven later that it was actually a Thursday. These are human hallucinations, misremembered details that can have serious consequences. Just like AI, our brains sometimes fill in the blank with what seems logical or familiar, even if it's dead wrong. But let's get back to our AI friends. So, AI hallucinations aren't always catastrophic. Sometimes they're just plain amusing. Like when an AI tries to write a story and suddenly a character who just sipping tea is now parachuting out of a plane for no apparent reason. It's like AI improv, unpredictable, sometimes funny, and often nonsensical. However, when AI hallucinations show up in serious contexts like healthcare, law, or journalism, they can be downright dangerous. Take, for instance, a recent study by researchers at Cornell and other institutions, I'll link to it in the show notes. They found that even the best AI models can produce hallucination free content only about 35% of the time. That's like a weather forecast being accurate just 1/3 of the time. You might as well flip a coin. So, why do these hallucinations happen? Well, much like how a witness might misremember details in court, AI models are doing their best with the information they've got. But sometimes the data just doesn't cut it. If the model's training data is full of gaps, inconsistencies, or just outdated information, it might start making things up. Just like how your memory might insert a blue car into a crime scene that only had a red one. The study I mentioned earlier sheds light on this issue. So it turns out models trained heavily on sources like Wikipedia might hallucinate less when dealing with general knowledge, but flounder on more specific or niche topics. So, what's being done to curb these digital daydreams? Well, developers are coming up with ways to limit hallucinations, like grounding AI responses in verified sources or programming models to abstain from answering when they're not sure. It's kind of like teaching the AI equivalent of, if you don't know, don't guess. But as with anything, these solutions have their downsides. Sometimes the AI becomes so cautious that it refuses to say anything at all unless it's 100% sure. sort of like a witness clamming up on the stand because they're afraid of getting something wrong. Another method is human in the loop verification, where humans fact check the AI outputs. It's not foolproof, but it's a step in the right direction, like having a diligent editor go over every line of a novel before it hits the shelves. And that's our exploration into the hallucinatory world of AI. And let's be honest, our own minds too. Whether we're talking about a machine mistaking fiction for fact, or a witness swearing they saw something that never happened, hallucinations are a part of life, both digital and human. If today's episode sparks some questions, or if you've got your own wild AI hallucination story to share, hit me up on LinkedIn. Just search for Emily Laird, Laird. Until next time, stay curious, stay adventurous, and remember, you didn't hallucinate this episode. No, this actually happened.